I'm Travis.
And I'm Emma.
What's the last song you listened to?
That's a good question. Oh, Ivy by Frank Ocean.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to Drinkin' by Joel Corey, MK, and Rita Ora.
I don't know it, but I know I would like it.
I know you would too, because it's Rita Ora just going, drinking all night, drinking all night. Like, that's literally like...
That's beautiful. That's exactly what I wanted it to be.
We have a lot this week.
Yeah, well, okay, so this episode, we're going to complain, and then we have a lot to talk about in the realm of reality television. We got to go through Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Jesus, and talk about the Traitors cast, and then I also have to let out some opinions about Love Island. I must. I just, it's insanity.
So, do you want to start with complaining, or do you want to start with your child, or do you want to start with CupcakKe's new song?
Let's start with CupcakKe's new song,
So
shall we?
CupcakKe, have you heard it yet?
No.
CupcakKe.
Is it great? Hang on.
I'm
going to play a little clip, but I don't want to get copyrighted in our first 10 episodes, you know what I mean?
Emma's gonna listen to it and we're gonna reconvene. It's literally called "One of the Bedbugs Ate My Pussy." Hang on, let me make sure I have this right.
Is it about sleeping naked?
No.
That's what it gives to me.
It has nothing to do with that. It's called "One of My Bedbugs Ate My Pussy."
That's beautiful.
And I'll
okay,
let
be
Emma
right
listen
back.
to it, and we'll be right back. So we're back. Emma just heard it.
That was iconic. She is the voice of our generation.
The beat is actually so good.
Yeah, like if you could censor the lyrics, which you just could not possibly do to that song, I would bump it in the car. But
that can't be censored.
Wow.
That can't be for public consumption.
I loved it. I think the title makes me think about sleeping naked. That's why I can't sleep naked, because I feel like bugs and dust and lint are going to be all in my coochie, but that's not what it was about.
No, but I want to call out 3 of my favorite lyrics.
Yeah.
LA fires wouldn't happen if a bitch just squirt.
Mm-hmm,
One. That
snaps.
He gonna miss this face like when Trump got shot.
Wow.
2.
Wow. You know, when she wrote that down, she said,
She said, we're doing art. And then number 3, itsy bitsy spider crawled in my booty crack. Down came the rain when I threw this coochie back. And here's the real tea of all of it. There is one writer credit on this song. It is Elizabeth Harris. Do you want to take a wild guess on what CupcakKe's real name is?
Elizabeth Harris.
Elizabeth Eden Harris.
Oh, CupcakKe, you've done it again. I knew she wrote that song. You can just tell.
By herself.
You can just tell by the vibes. She has a mind. I wish I had a quarter of the creativity, of the gumption that she does. Wow, CupcakKe, we love you.
She has a mind that we could never wish for. And that's that on that.
Wow, if you haven't heard One of My Bedbugs Ate My Pussy, please tune in wherever you stream your music.
Please. I'll give you my password too.
How many monthly listeners does CupcakKe have?
Does that tell you?
2.1 million.
Shut your whore mouth.
Oh, I'm not even surprised.
That's amazing. Good job,
Also,
CupcakKe.
Deep Throat has 120 million streams, and I believe Travis to be at least 20 million of those.
Probably. Do you have anything to complain about?
So much, really, but I'm kind of at I have so much to complain about, but all I've seen for 2 weeks are people in Gaza, people in Iran, and people in LA who are dealing with such strife that I feel like the most privileged woman in the world. So I'm going to forego my complaining in solidarity with immigrants and also the whole entirety of the Middle East except for Israel. Sorry.
That's fair. I have two things to complain about if you don't have any.
Please do.
Okay, one is going to make me sound like an asshole now that you've taken a moral stance. And
I just wanted to say something in this episode about it.
no, that's fair.
Yeah, I still have lots I've been complaining about internally, don't get me wrong.
No, I feel like for me, I don't know that I have anything productive to add to the conversation, so I feel like I'm uncomfortable unpacking some of those subjects because I don't know how to talk about it. Like someone who's very, very good at it is like Hassan Piker, who fully understands like the facets that
the implications of everything, and not to mention he's in California, so he's like,
so he gets it.
Yeah, he was at the protest,
right?
But yeah, if you'd like more details about what's happening in Iran, in Gaza, or in LA, I highly recommend listening to Hassan Piker.
Did you say Austin Piker?
Hassan. I thought Hassan was Hassan. I don't know. Anyway, however you want to say it, listen to that hottie. Because as two white people from Indiana, we can only say so much, you know.
That and like, I fully like, I just feel like I don't have anything productive to add to the conversation. I'm just gonna be very real with you. Like my heart goes out to literally everyone that is impacted by literally all the bullshit going on in the world right now because there is so much. My goal with this podcast is to bring some lightheartedness to everyone's day, and
especially in the deep dark times that we are currently in.
Exactly. And like me talking about it is like it would be the most uneducated takes on it.
Well, that's
ever.
what I'm saying. Like if we really wanted to get into it, I would sound so stupid compared to people who have prepared research and pieces.
Right. And maybe that's one of our Let's Research Mamas. Like that is maybe that is something that I can unpack. It's just not.
But that's not what we're doing today.
No.
I was just saying because the last week has been like particularly horrible.
It has been horrific.
Especially with the militarization of ICE in
Los
California.
Angeles,
yeah. So anyways, what are we complaining about?
So the thing that's going to make me sound like an asshole. I went to Swig. I went to the drive-thru of Swig on East Washington Street. I get in the drive-thru. I am the second car in line, right? The car in front of me is a minivan with 9 kids in it. And I want everyone to enjoy Swig. Swig, please sponsor the podcast. This is not an attack on you.
We love Swig.
We love Swig. I'm drinking a Swig right now. That being said, there is a minivan in front of me with a mom and like 9 kids. And the thing that is really triggering to me about every Swig except for the one in Greenwood is that you cannot go in and just pick up your order. You cannot just pop your head in and be like, oh, it's on the counter waiting for me, whatever. You must wait in the drive-thru. They will not pull a car forward like you're at an Arby's. They will not allow it. And so I waited in this drive-thru, and I am not exaggerating, for 20 full minutes.
Mind you, all they sell is little snacks and sodas. Like, there had to be so many of them.
But that's the thing. They just kept handing sodas out and out. And I was like, I love that. Like but it's like, it was a million little ones. So like what it tells me is like the kids couldn't make up their minds. So it was, let's have a smorgasbord. Let's have a fun time. And like, I see what the mom was trying to do. You should have ordered ahead. You should have said, I have a mobile order for Christine, I assume. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at.
I get it. I want those kids to have a good time and have some yummy drinks. I do. But like, now you're making the whole community pay for it.
Yes. During Pride Month.
We went to a water park last week. Oh my God. Sorry. This is off topic. We went to a water park last week And it was a Thursday. We got there at 1:30 p.m. Packed. Filled to the brim, to the point where I was afraid we were going to have to wait outside because they were going to be at capacity. Packed. It was insane. We saw Jack's kindergarten teacher there. Like, insane. And remind me to comment on that when we talk about Jack again in a second.
Okay. Perfect. So the second thing I have to complain about is a movement that's taking hold on TikTok that I want to start off by saying I don't want to attack any one specific person, any specific group of people, but there is a group of people on TikTok called the 4 a.m. Club. This is rooted in a phenomenon that occurred on November 6th of 2024. So the night after, or like the morning hours after election night, right? So this whole phenomenon stems from a woman waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and we all just knew in that moment that Donald Trump won the election. And millions of people on TikTok were commenting saying, I also woke up at 4 o'clock.
I've heard about this, not on TikTok, like on Twitter, of everyone saying they woke up that night.
I also woke up that night. I very vividly remember waking up, and I told you about this. I woke up and I said, oh God. And I think...
Is it not an anxiety thing?
I think it is.
Oh, I'm just guessing here. But anyway, go on.
So the creator, founder of the 4 a.m. Club is a psychic.
Anyway, of course she is, yeah.
And she's been speaking to, I guess, ghosts. I don't know. I'm not attacking. I don't understand spirituality. This is something I need to be very clear about. She's speaking to who or whatever she's speaking to, and they're telling her about what's really going on in the world. Like, in the beginning, what it was Kamala Harris really won the election is what we were being sold.
Oh, this was that whole thing where TikTok. They were like, I'm not going to believe it. Yes. I know that she won.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes. Like, it's that. And it is stemmed into a TikTok that I sent Emma earlier with the text, Jesus Christ, in all caps.
Yeah.
Where it's a woman who is a member of the 4 a.m. Club. And I won't take this away from anyone. If you want to believe whatever you want to believe, I won't take that away from you. But what scares me about the 4 a.m. Club is that it's giving people false hope. And it's exactly what I believe MAGA was doing in 2020. It is identical to what they were doing. Yeah. And so this TikTok goes on to talk about how we're in an alternate timeline.
Isn't that kind of the whole point of alternate timelines in general? Aren't you always in an alternate timeline because there are like millions of different possible timelines? Anyway.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's a whole theory that I've gotten into. We can talk about it in another episode. But if you believe in multiple timelines, then you're always in an alternate timeline. You're in an alternate timeline than if you chose something different for breakfast this morning.
But are you in an alternate timeline, or are you just existing and then the timeline's existing around you? This is a thing that I cannot understand. My little Kentucky brain cannot understand it.
See, that's an interesting question because I always interpret it as there are multiple dimensions in which I exist and I'm doing different things in all of them. Does that make sense?
I won't take that away from you, but I don't understand that. I hear you. I can conceptualize what you're saying. I do not understand it.
It goes into the whole thing of like multiple universes and
maybe they're out there.
We should talk about that in a things we don't understand episode. We'll get into that.
I love that.
String theory and multiple universes and all of that. That would be fun. Okay.
But this one is saying that we're in an alternate timeline in which Donald Trump won the election, and our job as the 4 a.m. Club is to collapse this timeline into the right timeline. And now we're verging into the territory of psychosis, I fear. Like, this is what I don't understand, and this is what I'm complaining about, is why can, like, I'm going to go on record. I do not like the presidency. I do not like the administration. I do not like anything about it. I have not liked anything since November of 2024. I have been mad about it.
I would argue I haven't been happy since November of 2016.
Fair.
But, like, we didn't do this in 2016. I didn't see any of the mentally ill or any of the clairvoyants telling us that, well, if we just crush this timeline, then we'll go to an alternate timeline.
Then what?
Well,
then what, Diva?
Like, at some point, you just have to take the loss and, like, almost, it kind of sounds like they need a reality check of, like, yes, it's horrible, and yes, it's scary and all of these things, but Donald Trump is the president.
Right.
And for what it's worth, there's nothing you as an individual can do to change it.
No. The only thing you could do is get out and vote next time, Diva.
No.
And here's the God's honest truth. You know, there are these, like, there's the pro V&V lawsuit going on right now, where if there is any merit to it, I am thrilled and excited.
That's not the same as destroying a timeline and jumping to an alternate reality in which Kamala Harris won. It's proving what happened in this timeline, in this universe.
And that's the thing, is we're talking about psychosis. We're talking about, like, crazy shit, and I'm just like, we have to live in reality, babe. We gotta figure it out together. Are you ready for reality roundup?
Oh, I'm so ready.
So we've got the Traitors season forecast on our list. We've got the first 2 episodes of the second season of Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, and then you said you had...
I have something to say about Love Island.
Fun fact, I've only ever watched, like, half of an episode of Love Island.
I don't think you would be into it, and honestly, I just wasn't gonna ever comment on it.
No, I want you to comment on it.
Okay, so what you need to know is that the last season of Love Island was so iconic. Like, I would argue, it was probably the biggest season to ever occur of Love Island, including in the UK. Like, it was huge, and we got, like, celebrities out of it. Like, people who now have millions of followers, they're getting brand deals, they're doing all these things.
Right.
And they're getting their own spin-off show, in fact, because everyone loves that cast so much.
Love that.
Yeah, and good for them. They were all hot. They all had very distinctive personalities, and you could tell they got on really well. Like, they all really liked each other. And it was cool because it was like you were seeing friendships blossom as well as, like, these romantic relationships.
Oh, I love that.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
It has caused a rift in Love Island, though, because now we have this problem with the girls where the whole point of the show, right, is to go date a bunch of people and, like, be hot, right? And
what a dream. What an absolute dream.
That's really the only rule of the show. Be hot and date multiple people. Okay? And it's turned into this thing where if you go after someone's man, you're not a girl's girl.
Jesus Christ.
As if you're not on Love fucking Island.
But that's the point of the show, though, Diva. Like,
I know.
And do you actually think... Let me ask you this, because from the half of an episode I've watched, I got the entire vibe. Mm-hmm. Do you actually think when you leave Casa Amor, or whatever the fuck it's called, that you're leaving with your fucking husband or your wife? Do you actually believe that?
It's happened so few times. Like, Okay, that's the other thing about last season is that 3 of the couples, the big 3 that everyone was obsessed with, they're still together a year later.
That is shocking to me, and you could have said, is this true or false? And I would have told you that is an abject lie.
Right.
Go on.
But last season was such an independent thing. It was so different from anything we've ever seen on Love Island. And so people... But it was such a huge draw that was like people's first experience of Love Island. And so now they're like, oh, they're going to get married. Oh.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
And listen, I do think the girls should have the other girls' backs in the sense of like, they should be there for them when they're upset and they should,
That's how you're a girl's girl.
Be friends. I have a huge problem with this season, and I don't even want to say her name because she's been getting so much hate online. It's the one who's a mother. She's saying one of them is not a girl's girl because of a vote that America had. Anyone in America was voting for who this girl should pair up with, and we all chose the mom's man, right? Because they've been together since the beginning and they like haven't experienced anyone else, and you could tell his name is Jeremiah was into this new girl. Okay, so the next morning they get a text at like 5 a.m. All the new couples are going on a date, blah, 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 blah. This girl has done nothing wrong to the mom, right? Nothing wrong to her.
Right.
And she goes on this tirade about Iris isn't a girl's girl. You can just tell she's holding stuff back, blah, 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 blah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, we have lost the plot of Love Island, and that is all I really wanted to say about it. I think people have really forgotten what the show is about. It's about being hot and dating multiple people. You're not finding your kid's stepdad there.
No.
You're not finding your future husband there. I get that you're there to find love, whatever. Love in the sense of dating for 6 months, perhaps.
Love in the sense of getting your puss ate.
Right. In front of everyone else because you all share a bedroom. That's what you're there for.
And I want you to do that.
I want to see it. That's why I watch.
Yes.
I don't watch to see you sneaking around listening to the boys' conversations. I don't watch it so that I can see how strong your connection is with the other girls.
I would argue that I don't give a fuck how strong your connection is.
No. God.
Like, that's just
Every
a God's
single,
honest
like,
truth, Diva.
Challenge they have in the whole show, they're all kissing each other. That's like the premise of every single challenge that they have, is that they all make out with each other.
I love that.
It's like, that's what you're there for. I don't understand how you can be possessive and how you can be like
It's my
catty.
freshman year at IU.
Like, have a good summer, mama. Ugh. Anyway, let's get into Traitors. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I can't wait for this. So, Traitors season 4 is confirmed. There's not a date yet for the premiere, but we have the cast. And
there are some huge highlights.
There's some highlights, and then there's some names that I don't know because, to be fair, like I think there are different sects of reality TV watching, and some of them I just don't watch.
But Candace Dillard Bassett,
and they did her dirty with this picture. I don't think this is a great picture on this website.
But you know she's gonna eat so hard on that show. Like the aesthetics of all of it, I can't wait.
And the thing about Candace is she is smart. Like, she is intelligent, and she is going to go the fuck in on these people and like make them regret the day they were born.
She's not scared of any fucking body at all. Like, she will say what she thinks, period, done. She does not care.
Yes.
I feel like she's almost gonna bring the energy that Bob the drag queen brought. Which is funny because Monet Exchange is also on this
right, which is who I don't care about.
We'll get there. I'm so excited for Candace. That's like a huge highlight.
That's
for
a
me.
win for me. Mm-hmm. Caroline Stanberry.
Yeah, I didn't really know her because I didn't watch Housewives of Dubai.
So before Housewives of Dubai, Caroline Stanberry was on a show on Bravo called Ladies of London. which is...
Oh, right. Yeah, you talked to me about that.
An incredible sociology experiment of dropping in women from the United States into London society where, like, there's, like, real rules to London society, and, like, watching these people interact was just a fucking field day.
They have a type of old money that doesn't exist in America. Like, because it, like, literally goes back farther than America existed. Yeah, like...
But Caroline Stanbury is part of that old money thing.
Oh.
Like, she has money.
I mean, you live in Dubai, yeah.
Right. So I'm very excited for Caroline Stanbury, and she is someone who I'm excited to see people attack her almost, and not because I want her to get attacked, but because when she was on Ladies of London, and it was the same way on Real Housewives of Dubai, she was unshakable. Like, similarly to the way Candace is, like, where it's like you can't tell her shit. Like, it's so good.
I love that. I hope they're best friends.
I hope so too. And that's the thing is, like, what tends to happen on Traitors, what I've noticed is the housewives tend to pair off.
Yeah, even when they're not from the same cities, they do.
Even if they don't like each other.
I know, they do tend to gravitate towards one another.
Yeah.
They are, like, a very different breed than, like, someone from Survivor, Big Brother, you know what I mean? Yes. I'm excited to see Dorinda back.
Dorinda Medley.
I am so excited to see Dorinda back. She left far too soon.
She was the first elimination.
Yeah. And I think they knew when she was killed first.
She was coming back.
That she needed to come back. Because she didn't really get her moment. And, like, she was still, like, such a strong personality in the one episode she was in. Like, she was still, like, I'm sure people's favorites, like, starting off.
The thing about Dorinda, you haven't seen her on Real Housewives of New York yet. She comes in the season that Bethany comes back.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And the way that she holds up, like, she does have seasons where she doesn't come off shining like the star that she is, which it happens to every housewife.
Yeah.
What she does is she likes 2 or 3 dirty martinis, and this is one of my favorite things about her. I like, if Dorinda, if you ever hear this, just know that, like, I see the relationship you have with your daughter Hannah, and all I want is a relationship like that with a mother who's not my mother.
Never any shade towards you, Dorinda.
I love Dorinda. Dorinda can do the way Bethany can do no wrong, and as far as I'm concerned, Dorinda can also do no wrong.
She just seems like such a sweetie, too.
She really, really, really
She
is.
has such a big, strong personality, but you can tell, like, if someone needs her, she's there. You know what I mean?
Also, there's no bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see her and Candace interact.
I think they would be thick as thieves or really butt heads.
I think they're going to be really good friends.
I think so too.
Who Dorinda is going to have a hard time with is Caroline Stanbury, because Dorinda lived in London for several years, and I think
that they're too similar.
There's a clashing thing that's going to happen there 100%.
I see that. I don't know who Eric Nam is.
I don't know who he is. I'm sure he's going to be great.
I don't know this Big Brother guy.
Ian Terry, I don't know. Johnny Weir.
I'm excited for Johnny Weir.
Yeah.
I love him. I think he's so cool and so funny, but I haven't seen him that much. Like, I haven't seen that much of him, so I'm excited to see what he's like in a shared house like that.
My exposure to him has been through, oh God, well, what's the show where Project Runway?
Yeah.
He came on Project Runway as a guest judge, and he was hysterical.
He's so funny.
He's very funny.
Yeah. I think he'll be, like, class clown, kind of lighten the mood.
Yes.
Kristen Kish, I am familiar with. I respect her as a chef and personality, but I don't know how her personality is going to do on Traitors. She's, like, a very...
No bullshit.
Yeah, she's, like, always been a host and stuff like that, so I've never seen her, like, participating in something. Like, I've...
Oh, so you've seen her be, like, running the show. You've never seen her being in the show.
Right.
Got it, okay.
So, I don't know. She seems to, like, just to me, off of what I've seen, she seems to have like a very dominant personality, and I don't know how
I think
that's,
that'll be good.
Yeah, I don't really know how that's going to play out. However, she's very hot.
She's actually gorgeous. Like,
yeah.
And there's like a badass look about her that I'm very into. I like that. I like it.
Yeah, she always has like this short hair tatted up thing going on. She wears
love a lady with short hair. I think it is so hot. Like, there's just like, ooh, I love it.
She tends to wear kind of like a sporty suit situation a lot. Yeah. Okay. Who's next? Survivor and not a survivor.
Rob Sesternino. I'm gonna be. You know what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Not no to this man. I'm into it.
Lisa Rinna.
Lisa fucking Rinna.
I can't wait for her to get too drunk at the Traitors' house and show that monkey.
This is something that the Traitors has needed. I would argue this is something Traitors has needed since season 1 because Lisa Rinna. Oh God. So. You know her whole backstory where like she started on like Days of Our Lives or or one of the soap operas on NBC. And so she's been in that world since the 90s.
Forever. I was going to say 30 years.
She is good at reality television. I want to say she was on like Celebrity Big Brother and like was it
I don't know what she
did one of these competition shows, and she was very, very good at it.
I can see that for her because she knows how to play the game. She's been in the industry for long enough that like she knows how to play the game. But also she's so fun.
She's fun, and she's funny.
Yes.
Like she is genuinely hysterical.
Mm-hmm. I'm really excited to see her.
Mark Ballas, you also know what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Not no to this man.
I'm not a Dancing with the Stars girl. I watch it if there are like celebrities on there that are interesting to me, but that's it. And I wouldn't say I watch it. I watch clips of it.
I think he's hot.
Maura Higgins. Okay. Obviously, you're not going to know who Maura Higgins is. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have like...
She's gorgeous. Oh my God.
She is stunning. She is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I feel like she could really be a dark horse because she tends to like... She's super fun and flirty and fresh, but she tends to like keep to herself a little bit compared to the other people I'm seeing on this cast.
It's hard when you have a ton of big personalities to like fit in, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of a ton of personality.
She would absolutely eat as a traitor. She would eat. Because I think she would know how to, like...
Fly under the radar?
Yes. If you hear a harmonica, that's just our soundtrack today.
Jack's playing his little harmonica. It's perfect.
I don't think they'll be able to hear it, but... yeah, I love Maura Higgins. I think she's funny. I think she's really cool. I do think she's more reserved than some of the other people in this cast.
Yeah.
And so... I don't know. I think she would do a really good job as a traitor. If I were a producer, I would be making her a traitor. Michael Rappaport can go to hell.
I have a feeling he will be one of the early ones to go.
Oh, yeah. He's going to get cut early. And I don't think any of these other people are going to like him.
No.
Anyway, yeah.
Monet Exchange.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. I don't know how to say this in any other way. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't understand her personality without Bob the drag queen.
Yeah. So I was going to say it might be interesting to see her separated from Bob the drag queen. Like maybe she'll shine in her own individual way. I just don't really know what to expect from her. And
it's not that I don't like her. I think that she's a very talented queen.
Yeah.
I only know her, like, the only frame of reference I have is sibling rivalry with Bob the Drag Queen and Money Exchange and RuPaul's Drag Race. Like, that's the extent of my frame of reference.
I've only seen her on RuPaul, and, like, I don't even really, like, recall.
The sponges. You know? That's what I remember about Money Exchange is the sponges.
And I don't know. Maybe she'll be great, but I don't really know what to expect from her. Natalie Anderson, I don't watch Survivor.
I don't know who that is.
Portia Williams! Stunning, beautiful queen.
Let me tell you about Portia Williams. Okay, so this a couple things about Portia. I have loved her from day one on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Really?
She came on and I think she was playing a role because she was now married to Cordell Williams.
Oh, uh-huh.
And she was playing the role of like ditzy housewife. And this clip has floated around on TikTok for years where I don't believe she didn't understand the Underground Railroad, but she pretends to think that it was
an actual train. Yeah. I've seen that.
But, like, something you need to understand about Portia Williams is she is a walking comedy show. Like, she is hysterical. She's gorgeous. One of the most beautiful women I've ever seen in my life. I cannot wait to see her interact with Candace because they are either going to be best friends or they are going to be at each other's throats immediately. And I cannot wait to see it.
So I've watched Real Housewives of Atlanta in, like, bits and pieces. It's not something where... Like Potomac, I've watched every single episode in order. I've just, like, I used to watch Atlanta when it was on because I loved the whole cast. Like, stunning and funny cast in Atlanta. Everything I've ever seen of Portia has been hilarious.
She is
hilarious.
So funny.
And so funny. But I also think Candace is very funny, so it might be one of those things where they're, like, so similar that they just don't get along. Because I think that happens a lot, like, especially in real life. Like, people who are too similar only see the differences in each other, and so they just clash and clash and clash. But I am excited to see her. I'm really excited to see her.
I love Portia Williams. I think she is just the greatest. I love her.
I think she's going to be a shining diamond in that house. I also think she can bring the drama because she's a little messy.
Very messy. Rob Roush. I don't know who that is. I love
Rob. Okay, he was from last season of Love Island that I just talked about. Was like a huge big deal. He's not one of the ones that ended up in a couple, but people do love him. He's a Louisiana boy.
If he would like to end up in a couple, I am single.
He is cute and he's tall and he's tattooed.
Perfect.
And
he's checking every box.
Funny. And the last time I saw anything from Rob, it was like his sister was like crying, upset about something. I don't know, like boy problems or something. And he just like pulled her around in a boat until she stopped crying.
Aww.
Like he's just
he looks like a sweetheart.
Louisiana boy, right?
And
he did do my girl Leah a little dirty on Love Island, but it's Love Island. And yeah, I think that I think he'll be great. I don't think he'll last that long. I don't think he's the sharpest knife in the box. If you think otherwise, dear viewer, feel free to send me an email about it. But I don't know how long he'll last in there. I think he doesn't really know how to be sneaky.
But here's the God's honest truth. If he needs arms to run into after he gets eliminated, by God, my arms are open.
He is a beautiful man.
Rob Funches?
I don't know how to say his last name, but I have seen him and stuff, and I think he's funny. I don't know. It's kind of a random pick for them, I think.
But I'm excited. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I love to see a comedian on Traitors. I think
Stephen Colletti from One Tree Hill.
I mean, I've seen One Tree Hill, but like...
I've never seen One Tree Hill. I remember it used to come on either right before or right after Charmed.
That's the only reason I've seen it. I think it was right after because I don't know. Kind of, again, one of those like weird random picks. But I'll tell you, when the last cast came out and I saw Dylan Efron, I was like, oh, who is you? And then I loved him. I still love him.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, like, some of these I'm saying, oh, what a weird random pick, and I might fall in love with them.
Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, you can know one thing. I trust the judgment of the producers at NBC Universal and Peacock to cast the Traitors. They can tell me, they can bring on anyone. They can bring on George from down the street. I trust you.
He must have that spark in him because Yeah, I don't know. That's all I'm gonna say. I didn't think Dylan Efron was gonna be that amazing to me, and he literally took my heart away. So I don't know.
Tara Lipinski is going to be best friends with Johnny Weir.
Yeah,
which is cool.
Both figure skaters. I don't really know anything about her though. Have you seen her anywhere else?
Only on the Olympics, but I know that she was very, very talented. I feel like she was also in the episode of Project Runway that...
were they partners? Did they skate together?
Maybe.
I bet we find out on the Traitors.
I bet we find out when they're best friends running around.
Yeah.
Tiffany Mitchell from Big Brother.
Never watched Big Brother. Yam.
You're going to know something else about this man and me.
Yeah.
Yamil Orocho.
Orocho?
Yam from Survivor. Not no to him.
Don't know him, but I'm excited to see. Yeah, I think it's going to be a really great season. I think the Traitors has only gotten better and better each season. So
oh my God.
They can do no wrong in my eyes.
Gold.
And this cast is amazing. I don't see this season going any differently.
Are you ready for the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives?
Yes. So here's the thing. Travis has only seen episodes 1 and 2, so we're going to try to get through this without me absolutely spoiling it for him. Let us dive in.
Let's dive in. So we start episode 1. It's called The Book of Revelations. The opening scene is the season opener party where what they're trying very hard to do is take the Real Housewives format where they have a season opening party and it's a whole thing and it's like you're reintroduced to the show. That's very clear what's happening. During this party is where I was trying to like figure out who was who because you know that like 2 or 3 of the girls were exactly the same person in my mind, and that's why I had to take detailed notes because I thought Jen, Taylor, and is it Demi? I think Jen, Taylor, and Demi I thought were the same person for a little bit.
Yeah, in your defense, a lot of them look very similar.
Yes.
They're all getting their procedures done at the same place. Hello.
Yes.
So it's like they all look the same though.
Demon Monster Whitney is back. That's all I have to say about her. I don't like Whitney. If that changes during the season, then that changes. I do not like Whitney.
It was Aspen Ovard was at their opening party.
I don't know who that is.
She's an influencer. It was kind of weird. It's all kind of like clout chasey for me. Yeah.
This is going to bring me to a point in a minute, but go ahead.
I feel like, I don't know, and you'll have to watch the rest of it and see how you feel about it. I feel like Whitney is there because she wants that mom talk money.
That's all any of them are there for. And this is what we need to realize. This is a reality show. They're making a reality show based on a TikTok influencer group, which is fine.
Yeah.
But let's not make it about anything else. Like I want to see what's going on in their lives just like I want to see what's going on in the Real Housewives' lives.
Right. But that doesn't mean you have to pretend to be best friends.
So I come at it from a different angle where like the best housewife shows are the shows where they have real relationships.
I agree. I just don't think Whitney is there in order to gain a real relationship.
I agree. I think she's there to
get that check, baby.
And that's fine. I have a hard time with this whole thing of like my mom talk group. I'm so protective of her. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because you're going to get the check either way. Stop. Just stop. That seems disingenuous to me.
Yeah. Whitney really didn't grow on me at all.
No, I do not like Whitney. And maybe that'll change. I do not like her right now. New girl Miranda used to be best friends with Taylor. Okay, so
you know the tea. She was like part of the group that was swinging.
Right. And listen, I'm going to go on record right now. If you want to swing, I want that for you. I love that for you.
I would love to know the actual truth of this situation though.
Because
there is such a weird, and you'll see if you haven't yet, they like Taylor and Miranda talk about it, and we still don't really know what the real truth is.
I've seen the preview of it.
Okay.
But as of right now, all we have heard from Miranda is, I only played spin the bottle and kissed a guy.
So, like, okay, I want you to watch a couple more episodes where Miranda gets to say her piece, and then I want to dive into what we think the real truth is, because I'll tell you right now, we never get, like, here is what happened. We never get that.
We go to Jen and Zach. Their marriage is falling apart, and now they're separated. Here's what I believe happened with Jen and Zach. I believe Jen started making a ton of money from Mom Talk. She's a multi-millionaire from being an influencer and the brand deal she's getting, and from the check she's getting from Hulu.
100%.
I believe Zach said, oh, I can take a year in profit off of this. And
I think he might have said, I don't need to be a doctor anymore. And
maybe.
You're married.
Or maybe he wants to take a
fine.
minute and be a dad.
Kids.
Like, whatever you want. I don't care. What I don't need is the narcissistic, well, I'm taking time away from med school for you. I don't want all that.
Yeah, it made me very uncomfortable. You have not gotten to the pin drop for Jen and Zach yet. We'll get there when we get there.
Perfect.
It's
Jen
mostly Jen.
says,
Jen, I'll just say this to those of you who have already seen this whole season. I am on Jen's side, and I think...
Are you really?
My heart goes out to her, truly. You need to see what happens and how they treat her this season. It is actually disgusting, in my opinion.
Okay, fair. I will say Zach does look better with the new haircut.
I agree. I'm going to be nice about Zach on the podcast. I don't want to be a homophobe. Moving on.
During Pride Month.
Not in June.
So I forgot that season 1 closed with Macy calling Dakota's side chick Jenna. And we pick up at Macy's house with them meeting up with Jenna.
Yes. Okay. That was that was so, I could not believe. And I love Macy. I really like Macy.
Yeah.
This whole season, she's really in her bag. I love her. And I love that she was like, yeah, we can have your baby daddy's side chick over to my house. I would love to see that.
And let me tell you something else. I love that this girl signed a release and said, yeah, I'll go on TV. I love that. I love mess. And I love, because what I wholeheartedly believe, and this is something about Utah and Salt Lake City in general, or Salt Lake City and Utah in general, where I believe that they're self-aware that they're public. Yeah. They're not self-aware that they're reality stars yet.
No.
And this girl said, I'm just going to go on TV and talk about my experience. Diva, you're going to shatter glass ceilings right here.
You're being an icon. So the way she handed Taylor her phone and she said, read it, mama. Yes. I don't care.
Yes.
Queen. And loved it.
I would argue that we need more girls like that to be allies.
Just be 100% transparent.
Yeah.
I think it comes from a place of insecurity most of the time when girls like don't share anything and are like that. I think it's a genuine place, but it is a place of insecurity.
Well, because it's like, I was the other girl. Like, well, I fully get that.
Yeah. But this girl just handed her phone right on over to Taylor. And you could tell Taylor wanted to be mad at her so bad, but couldn't be mad at her.
She couldn't find it in her. And that's where the breakdown came from, because I think she went into the situation and she said, I'm going to rip this girl apart. I'm going to take this girl on national television. I'm going to ruin her. And she couldn't do it because the girl was so forthright and honest.
100%.
And that's where the tears and like the ugly sobbing came from, because I think that she was like, fuck, I don't have an out here.
I think she expected for Jenna to be vindictive or even like possessive over what she had with Dakota. But she's an absolute icon and a queen who was like, I don't care about that man. Read my text. Loved it. Even when Taylor was being absolutely delusional, like asking about specific dates that are like over a year in the past and asking about like...
But she was still honest and she's like, hang on, what did we say around that date? And she like filled in the gap
Yeah,
for
she
her.
was
Like that was
going
incredible.
through her text with Dakota during that time frame and was like, yeah, I saw him that day. I guess I didn't see him that day, but what we said was this and this and this. And then she was like, there was like one point where she didn't remember and like she just stood on business because Taylor kind of put pressure on her to be like, well, what is it? And she was like, girl, I don't know.
But the saddest part, I think, was where I guess Dakota, and I do believe this, Dakota said, I'm only hanging out with Taylor to like grow my social media following. And I was like, fuck
I knew he was a clout chaser. I knew he was a clout chaser.
But he was like, how could he have known what he was getting into with Taylor that early on?
She already had millions of followers.
Is she really?
Mm-hmm. She's
was
been
Mom
big
Talk
on
this
TikTok
big of a deal?
forever. She was the girl. If you don't know this about Taylor Frankie Paul, she was the girl who was going on TikTok with two girls who were her same age and saying that she was 50 and they were her kids.
I don't remember this.
You need to do a deep dive on this because it was actually like, I don't know what she was thinking, but she was like telling all of TikTok. This is how she like gained her initial following, I think. It was years ago. I'm not shading her for this, by the way. But she would go on there and she would say, yeah, me and my two girls. And it would be like, picture Miranda and Michaela, like next to her dancing. And she's like, I'm their mom. I'm 50 years old.
And she's our age.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird thing, but she's always had a lot of followers.
So, dear listener, just know that an upcoming Mama Let's Research segment will be about one Miss Taylor Frankie Paul.
She has a lot of depth to her. And can I just say, I'm really not shading Taylor. I think she went through it this season.
Oh, 1,000,000%. I can see it coming. It's going to be a dark, dark, dark season for her.
It is hard on her. And I think she really handled it with grace for the most part. There's an incident you'll see where it's like she could have just let some shit go, but the way her family wasn't on her side, the way no one's on her side.
I've got notes about that one too.
She really handled most of it with grace. Anyway, yeah.
Miranda and Whitney go to the park.
Wow.
I could have done without that. That's all I'll say. I also could have done without the haunted house, but I understand it was a plot point to get to them all sitting down and talking because that is another Real Housewives trope.
Yeah. They had to get the group together.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the girls says, anyone that joins Mom Talk at this point is just clout chasing. And my question is that not like the whole point?
You are all clout chasing. Every single one of you, even Macy, my favorite girl, it is a clout chase. You want clout because, mama, you want that check. And that's okay. Mm-hmm. No one is mad at you. Mm-hmm. No one's mad at you. And I understand that you're like defending your position.
Sure.
And you don't want your money to be diluted or your followers or whatever to be diluted by too many people coming in and people favoring them.
Yeah.
But you don't have to call them clout chasers because
Diva, so are you.
Pot and kettle, baby. Ugh.
We cut to Taylor's mom showing up at Taylor's house with Ever True is her child's name.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Fine. Taylor's mom has had a lot of work done.
My thing is like, yes, she got a lot of work done. And why does the work make her look like Taylor?
Let me tell you, because this is something I'm going to talk about in episode 2 in just a couple minutes where I have a theory about this. But
I think, yeah. Okay, we'll get into it in a minute.
I'm not interested in Taylor's mom's Mormon family values bullshit. I am not interested because let me tell you where this stems from is I grew up in the church. I've seen a million separations, breakups, divorces go down just like this, where the family does the family of the woman does everything in their power to keep the man and the woman together because it's shameful to be divorced. It's shameful to be a single mother. It's sick. Let me tell you right now, it is sick.
It reminded me of season 1 of Salt Lake City, Heather Gay, saying
Yes.
you should stay in your toxic marriage
because that's what
you
she was
cannot get
raised
divorced.
to believe.
It is like a brainwashing thing. It is. It's actually like sad for me to see because people would rather struggle.
Right.
And that's hard for me to come to terms with.
Yes.
I would be a single mom every day over being miserable with a man.
Being miserable, but like, I would take it one step further. Before I would, like, I would ask, I think it's fine to ask the question, like, are you sure, like, you're done? And that's a fine question to ask.
That's the reason there are separation laws in so many states.
Yes.
You have to be separated, yeah. Because you want to be sure.
To push your child to stay in a relationship in which she is miserable, you are the bad person.
Yeah,
Period,
your daughter,
full stop.
You're going to sit there to your daughter. Is episode 2 when they're like at Taylor's family's house? Mm-hmm. I can't wait to talk about that.
Can't wait.
I could not believe the way her family spoke to her. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we'll get there.
Taylor wants a break from Dakota is where they land, and I support that. I think that's probably the smart move.
I'll tell you, early on in the season especially, she kind of flips back and forth.
I've already seen her flip twice.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So Jen and Zach go to ketamine therapy.
Which I support, by the way.
I want them to go to ketamine therapy.
I think it was a smart decision for them to do that. I wish Zach was more into it.
Can I tell you something? I don't believe Zach actually did it.
Really?
Yes.
Even with the needle in his arm?
I don't believe he did it because of the way he acted. I believe that Jen did it.
It did give, like, fake high.
Where it was like, oh, how long were we out? Shut up. I believe that he had done it prior to this episode. I do not believe that he did it on camera, which is fine. If you don't want to do it on camera, that's fine. But don't do the whole song and dance for me, please.
Yeah, don't lie. Don't lie. And he kind of did like the whole fake high thing, and then it was like gone in an instant. Yeah. It was weird. It was weird.
Jen decides that Zach needs to meet with some of the girls to clear the air or whatever the case may be. So, so we cut back to Taylor's house. Dakota's moving out. And it goes to an interview with him. This is the moment I realize I like him better in a hat.
There are a lot of men out there who look far better with a hat on.
And this was hard for me because I spent the entire first season being like, oh my God, stay together. He's so hot. He's so hot. He's so hot. No. And now I'm like, oh. So Dakota's moving out.
Thank God.
And what I took away from this interview, and I hope I'm not wrong, is that I will buy that he loves Taylor. On some level.
I think that he does, but I think it all stems from like a I want to keep the family together thing, and I don't...
Maybe.
And I don't like that.
But what I do believe more is that he's got that dog in him.
He needs... I don't know. I have no sympathy for him. He's in his 30s. He has a kid.
Yeah.
Fucking grow up.
And I think he needs to be single until he can grow up. I think Taylor and Dakota's break needs to last until he can grow up.
Or forever. Anyway.
We cut to Miranda's happy hour.
Yeah. Demi.
Demi doesn't want one more problem bleeding into the group for the health of the mom talk. Shut up.
She's the villain of the season, I'll just tell you. Okay. She turns into an absolute demon, and I can't wait for you to see it.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. Jen doesn't know if she can trust anyone after Vegas because she says no one supported her when she was going through her stuff with Zach. And
have you seen the Halloween party yet?
I've seen the first half of it because like the second episode cuts off at the
halfway through. Okay.
And this is where I started to be on Jen's side a little bit, where I'm like, oh, that sucks. Like everyone knows what that feels like to be going through something, and
and feel like you don't have the support of your friends on top of going through it with your husband. That's hard.
But just you wait, ladies and gentlemen. Just you wait. So Miranda and Taylor decide to have their conversation with the entire group, of course, because how are you going to drive a plot?
Right.
And that's where the episode ends. And the last thing I wrote was, I think I'm a fan of Miranda. Tell me if I'm wrong about this.
I like her too.
Okay.
I think, so like I'm coming from obviously a different perspective because I've seen the whole thing. I wish she spoke up more. Like, I wish she stood on business a little bit more than she does, because I feel like she's kind of a background character for most of it.
Does that ever change?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like, as what you see from her in the first episode is the most you see of her.
It brings us to episode 2, where we pick up where we left off at Miranda's happy hour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay, let's get into it.
I feel like Miranda's not being 100% honest about
we already said, yeah. I think she's not being honest, and I think Taylor is doing her a service by not just airing everything out.
I agree, and I appreciate and resent it at the same time. Because I think in these situations, you got to be 100% real about it. Just be real.
Yeah.
But I also get that, like, in these scenarios, it's like, you don't want to do that.
And it's also awkward because Taylor was the beginning of the end of Miranda's marriage.
Yes.
And so it's like, she doesn't want to ruin her marriage and then also ruin her TV career and all of that, because I don't think she has a vendetta against Miranda.
No.
So I
also think there's a loyalty there, because they did used to be, like, best friends.
Yeah. And they were fucking. But anyway, I think, so did they talk about Chase at this point at all?
They talked about how Taylor goes up to Chase, Miranda's ex-husband, and says at the gym and says, I had a sex dream about you. And he said, I think I have feelings for you.
Yeah.
And that is the most Utah thing I've ever heard in my entire life.
He said, let me make that dream a reality, which is crazy because I think they were already fucking. But anyway.
But, like, Taylor was also like, oh, no.
Oh, no. Right. Like, I'm friends with your wife type of thing.
Right.
Like, okay. So I do think it's inappropriate to go up to your best friend's husband and say, I had a sex dream about you.
Is it inappropriate if you've been doing it, though?
But I'm saying that's what makes me think they're fucking. That's the only reason Taylor would feel like it's an okay thing to say.
Oh, hang on a second. I believe Taylor 100% would say that to anyone in real life. It's just the vibe I get from her.
I don't think she would go up to Demi's husband and say, I had a sex dream about you.
Can I say something?
You think she would?
I would to Demi's husband.
Oh, well, yeah, he's hot. That was kind of to Jesse's husband. I don't think she would do that unless they were already, like, in that type of relationship. I don't know. I do think Taylor tends to speak her mind, but to just go up to your best friend's husband...
That's fair.
Like, there's no way that they weren't fucking.
No.
There's no way.
But what I can also tell you is that Taylor owned up to being an asshole.
That's what I respected about her the most this season, is that she's kind of owning her shit.
Yes.
Like, when you haven't gotten to a part where she doesn't really own her shit, but for the most part, she really is, like, even with Dakota, you'll see later on, she gets to a point where she's very much like, he triggers me. Every time I look at him, I think about when he cheated, and it triggers me. And that is so self-aware of her.
Right.
Like, that is a very mature thing to say, I know that I'm not being rational.
Yes.
That, like, and I really appreciated that. We don't see that a lot.
And what I thought was very cool is she actually said, I was also a villain here. And, like, what the other girls aren't seeing is I was a villain. And they are being really hard on Miranda, and I don't think that's fair to her. She said that, and I thought that was very cool of her.
I thought they were almost, like, hazing her, especially 100%, Michaela. Michaela went off the fucking rails, and I did not think she needed to. I will say, I think later on in the season, she might have apologized for that, for saying, like, she went a little too hard on Miranda. But, like, whoa. Whoa. Was that uncalled for?
Yes, 100%. The girls go shopping for Halloween and Stagecoach, and all I wrote here was that Jesse and Layla are so goddamn pretty.
They are.
They are
They do
beautiful.
Layla dirty on this season, too. Like, they're showing her extension tracks. They're showing her, like, the producers should have stepped in and, like, fixed her up situation.
That's mean. I don't like
that. They do
that.
her so dirty. She is stunning,
so
gorgeous,
pretty.
beautiful.
Yes.
And so is Jessie. Yeah. Also, obviously, Jessie's hair is always going to look good.
Because she's like a hairstylist, right?
Yeah, that's her thing.
Okay.
But my God, does it always look good.
Yes.
Like, so amazing.
Yes.
Love, love, love.
The guys go fly fishing. Dakota has a hat back on, thank God.
Yeah, blessings be.
I find out here that Demi's husband is 47 and hot. I really love that. We find out that Taylor's mom invited Dakota to a cookout. I could have done without the fly fishing. I didn't need that.
I don't really know why they did it, except for the conversation with Zach.
I think it was a plot driver
point.
to get the guys together.
Yeah.
Where Zach could admit he was an asshole about the Chippendales thing.
Okay.
Which is going to rear its ugly head again in a minute.
Yeah, because he didn't actually mean that, did he?
What I'll buy is that he meant it if he wasn't ever going to have to deal with it again. And here's the God's honest truth. There's a reason for the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Because I have been to these Chippendales, these Thunderdown Under shows in Vegas where you go and it's a bunch of married women who just need a thrill. And that's fine. Mm-hmm. And it's designed for bachelorette parties is all it is.
Yeah.
None of it's real. None of it is substantive. And it's like, oh my God, that was so much fun. It's the same thing as going to a strip club. I think it's fine if you want to go, but I also think it's fine if you have a boundary in your marriage where it's like, hey, I'm not entirely comfortable with you going. Where I do have a problem is Zach telling Jen that he doesn't love her anymore over it. I think that's very problematic because I think that maybe we need to unpack that.
I also just get to a point where he is, like, in general terms, he is expecting her to be so committed to their marriage, to following these rules that he's set for her.
To following him to Arizona, to following him to...
Yeah.
Yes.
But he does not subscribe to the same way of thinking.
Do you want to know what that stems from?
His narcissism.
The church.
Yeah, well, yeah, the misogyny of it all, of you need me because I am your man situation. Mm-hmm. And I get it. I do. They're religious, but it's like, girl, stand up. Moving on.
I also asked, who is the derpy guy at the end of this scene? Because I didn't know who the fourth husband was.
Jesse's husband?
We find out it's Jesse's husband.
You're going to find out this season. This is not a spoiler at all. You could have just looked this up. But Jessie and her husband are rich without influencing, without Hulu.
So this is a common thing in Salt Lake City.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
money.
Where there's real money there. Like, there is real money. Yeah. So...
They're very rich. Anyway.
And I love that for them.
I guess a lot of it is Jessie's hair care. It's like not just a salon. She also makes products and stuff.
Do you want to know who else does that? Is Angie Katzenevas on Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, who owns, I think, 2 or 3 salons, but then they also franchise out the Paul Mitchell schools. They also have lines of salon products. They also, and they are wealthy.
Yeah, I think you make money off of salon lines.
Yes.
Like shampoo, conditioner, that type of shit.
Well, because the overhead is amazing.
Well, yeah,
and the profit margins are perfect.
Costs nothing to make, and people will pay an arm and a leg for their hair to be shiny.
That, and then you have, like, built-in, like, loyalty where it's like, oh, you come to my salon, like, this, you know you like this product. And, like, and it's probably good stuff. Like, I won't take that away from them.
Yeah,
but,
every
like,
time I've ever bought product from any salon, it's been amazing.
But
so
there's
I'm sure it's good.
money there.
Yeah.
So Demi and Jesse had to meet Zach. They all go meet up at a coffee shop, which... Fun fact, did you know that drinking hot coffee is not acceptable in the Mormon religion?
Not Mormon.
But
not
ketamine
Mormon,
is
but
a gray area.
I always thought, even like the soda versus coffee thing is so silly. Why are you allowed to drink soda with a higher caffeine content than coffee? But you're not I don't know, whatever. Joseph Smith, you're confusing.
It's all confusing. But this is where we start to get holes poked in the story because Zach brings out the thing about Jen saying that the girls weren't there for her. But it turns out the girls did nothing but reach out to her and Jen didn't respond.
Yeah.
But here's what I appreciate about Zach, where he stayed on his wife's side.
He stood 10 toes down for Jen in that meeting that they had. Can I just say how strange it is, the idea of your husband meeting with your friends to talk about you and you're not invited?
I thought that was as dumb as the day is long.
I thought it was weird. I wouldn't want Kenny to meet up with my friends without me to talk about me. I think that's weird.
I think she thought they weren't going to talk about her, though. I truly believe
what
that
did
Jen...
they have to talk about?
Jen said that Zach was going to apologize for being an asshole. And that's what the conversation was going to end.
That's right. That he was just going to
Because he was mean to the girls, too.
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? I did like that he owned up to everything and he said he was sorry. I didn't like the way the girls acted. The way the girls were like, your wife is so fake. Your wife. What? Like, I just thought that was so strange.
But when you're confronted with what you've been told, and you're like, no, that's a lie.
No, they definitely did have a right to be like, oh, don't say I wasn't there for her because I did try to be there for her and she didn't answer me.
But when Zach found this out, he said all the right things. He said, I don't know anything about that. I'm going to be on my wife's side. That's all I needed him to say. Yeah. And I was fine with that.
Yeah, I did like the way he handled that. I just thought it was a weird position to put your husband in. I feel like if Jen were there, she could have just hashed it out right there. Because I don't know if it's in this episode where Jen like meets up with Jesse and Demi and talks about it.
They both got to meet with Jesse and Demi later in this episode.
Okay, yeah. Because I just feel like they could have done that all at once.
They should have.
Like that, because they should have gotten a table for 4.
Yes, and it was weird. I didn't
it out right there.
I didn't like that this happened because it was pointless. I think it was a plot driver to Jen's a liar. Jen's a fucking liar.
Yeah, and she did lie like that. Yes. There is no beating around the bush. She did lie about the girls not being there for her. I do think maybe she wasn't. I feel like after that situation, I would have been embarrassed. I would have been embarrassed that my husband acted like that, and I don't know what I would have done, but I kind of understand where she came from.
But we cut to the cookout.
Oh. I cannot. So, like, I just have to get on my high horse here. If my family ever spoke to me the way Taylor's mother and stepdad talked to her in front of Dakota, I would...
In front of anyone.
And her sisters and the whole family, I would cut ties with them.
Immediately.
That is so inappropriate. So if you haven't seen it, Taylor's stepdad does not beat around the bush in saying, you're a whore for sleeping with Dakota.
Basically, yeah. Yes.
What the ever-loving fuck? How is that appropriate or acceptable to say about your daughter? By the way, your stepdaughter.
I also, and I'm just going to say this, and I will not be cutting this, I want an investigation into where this man was on January 6th because I have some theories about this man because he just has that look about him.
I just
hate him. But
hated to see that.
Before that happens, we find out that Taylor's mom is just a monster. Like, so you show up, and we find out she has a pattern of continuing to be friends with people that have been horrific to Taylor.
To be their realtor.
To say, well, they've always been nice to me, which I don't like that.
So weird. That is so weird. That's like someone bullying Jack at school and me still wanting to be friends with them.
Yes,
like,
that's
what?
weird.
That's not.
And she also says something to the effect of, oh, so you're going to this Halloween party that I'm not invited to. Why would you be invited to this Halloween party?
She loves to stick her little head where it doesn't belong. You remember when she called Whitney for not coming to the baby shower last season?
Yes.
She has another episode even worse than that.
God.
Episode 10, last episode of this season. I can't wait for you to see it. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And I feel for Taylor because, like, how do you even reel that in?
You don't, because let me tell you what this is. Then this was the theory that I mentioned earlier. This screams, I have a complex, and I've been in competition with my beautiful daughter for her entire existence. That is what this is.
And that's a very common thing that I see a lot, especially in pretty girls. Their moms are so jealous of them. Which is sick, because why couldn't you just sit back and be like, wow, I made something so beautiful and perfect and I'm so proud of myself. And find that happiness in the fact that you created your daughter. And instead you decide to turn that on its head and be jealous and even vindictive towards your daughter is so strange. Anyway.
Dakota shows up and it's as awkward as the day is long. Yeah. They all sit down at the table. Taylor's brother is not unattractive until he opens his mouth. I'm just going to say that.
I didn't think it was cute, but...
here we are.
Yeah. I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Appreciate it. But Taylor is just not thrilled to be there. And she's got her hood up. She's, like, sitting in the corner. And, and then Taylor's mom goes, why are you so closed off? Shut up. Shut up.
What do you think? You invite her ex kind of situation to your house.
Yeah.
That's so strange. Can you imagine if your parents hosted a cookout and invited your ex to come? Like, I don't get that.
I would leave, and that would be the last time I spoke to my family.
That's
I'm telling you right now.
They were weird for inviting Dakota. They're weird for the way they talk to Taylor. And the mom's weird for wanting to look like Taylor, and the stepdad's weird for thinking Taylor's a whore.
Yes.
They're all weird. The only one of them that I truly respect on a deep level is Taylor's sister.
I agree. Because she said, listen, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. If it's not, it's not.
She picked up the baby, so the baby didn't have to be there for the fallout.
Right.
I think she's the only one that is genuinely just Team Taylor.
Yes.
She doesn't have her own side of the story that she thinks she should sell. She doesn't, like her mom does. She's not competing with Taylor in any sense of the word. She's just there for her.
I also feel like she's not gunning to be on reality television. I think
she's not fighting for that spot.
Right. And I think she's secure in herself. And I think that's what we're seeing play out here is that that's why she's not an asshole.
Love her or hate her, she is just being there for her sister.
Right.
And she's okay with that being her personality on TV because she's not a member of the show. Taylor's mom does not understand that.
We go to Jen's house. Mm-hmm. Jen says in her interview that she believes that the resentment that the girls have towards her is because of Zach. And then Zach walks in and explains, no, the reason that the girls have resentment towards me is because of you.
Right. And you can tell Jen felt uncomfortable in the fact that, like, Zach, she got aired out to her own husband. Like, you can tell that is, like, infringing on her. But it's like, you're the one who set up that whole mess. Like, you're the one who set up him meeting with just your friends.
Yes.
So, like, I could have seen that coming from a mile away.
Then
I don't know.
That there wasn't a lot there. They decide that they're all going to meet together again. We cut to Jesse's house where, Christ almighty, they decide they're going to do the Chippendales thing again.
I don't want to ruin it for you. There's tea to that you don't know yet, that when you find out, you're like, wait, what? Like...
Does it come in the next episode?
I hope so,
Okay,
God, because
perfect.
I don't want to ruin it for you.
Then Whitney and her husband are out running around buying pajamas. This was a non-scene to remind us that Whitney is still on the show. Yeah. And I hope that I end up being wrong about Whitney, because I feel like I'm being really mean to her. I'm not interested in her story. I'm not interested in her at all. I think she's so boring.
And when she's not boring, she's giving catty. She's giving, like, angry almost. I don't know. I've never really... And once you hear Michaela's stance on Whitney and her individual problem with Whitney... It validated me in not liking her. Like, I'm standing behind her in that, because the way she treated her was not, the way she treated Michaela was not what you would expect from a friend ever, because they were like actual friends. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
we're almost at the end, friends.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We have another conversation with Zach and the girls, and Jen is there. And Jen is outed for being a rotten liar, and she's upset, and she's questioning the girls' allegiance. And I was just like, I saw what was happening, because we've had friends do this before, where like they get confronted with something, and then they just start talking and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking.
Yeah.
And they won't let anyone get a word in edgewise. And this is where you're like, oh, you don't want us to talk because you don't know what you've told one person to the other, or worse, you do know what you've told one person to the other and you don't want it to come out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I do feel like Jen was in a corner and like she didn't know how to get out.
Yes.
And so she was just trying to find a way out of that situation without looking like a horrible villain.
Yes.
And I don't know that she really accomplished that.
She didn't. So Jen gets called out for the "you were never there for me" comment. And the girls go, we have text. We can show you where we texted you. And it comes out, well, you didn't text us back for like 4 or 5 days. If Jen would, because this is what I will buy was happening. I believe Jen was incredibly depressed.
She was in a dark place. And when you get deeper into the season, you'll almost get confirmation of that without getting real confirmation of that. I think she was in a place we've all been in where she mentally could not handle talking about it. She couldn't even talk to the people who were involved. I think she just had to take that time. And you'll kind of see that happen. And
if she would have just said that in this moment...
Yeah.
She would have been fine.
I do think there might be some kind of stigma around mental health.
In the church.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I think until she really has to come to terms with it, she didn't want to say that. I think she just like kind of froze in that moment and didn't know what to say. And I think we've all been there too, where it's like, as someone with depression, like saying you were depressed doesn't feel like enough. Like you still feel like you're a bad person for not answering your friends. And so it's like, I kind of understand where she's coming from.
That's fair.
I do think she could have been a better friend to them in that time. And like at least said, I'm going through it. I'm sorry if I'm not replying type of thing. Like at least like communicate that. And then they gave her the perfect platform to just say that. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why she couldn't.
Zach makes Jen be honest about the gambling away his medical school tuition. And I was like, ooh, she didn't like this.
She was really petty about that. Yeah. I don't know. I think she just wanted to hurt Zach the way that Zach hurt her when she thought her marriage was over.
She thought her marriage was over. Let's just be real about that.
I think she just wanted to tear at him. And you know what? She got it in there, you know, and it was a lie and it came out. And I think she did own that, didn't she? Where she was like, oh, yeah, well, that wasn't true.
Yeah, because Zach made her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine sitting there with your husband and him being like, I wish you would just be honest about this because this is uncomfortable for everyone.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, it's hard, like, if you're going through it with someone and you start being petty and mean to them and about them, and then you have to own that, I can see that being, like, a hard pill to swallow.
Sure.
To be like, yeah, I was being a bitch. Sorry.
Christ.
You know?
Yes.
I don't, yeah.
I get
okay.
it.
So we move on to that just for them to chip and Dale our girl.
Well, so before that, Jen's getting ready for the Halloween party, and she's obsessed with being related to Ben Affleck.
You have to see how this plays out on the show. You have to see how it plays out on the show.
Is it chaotic?
It's a whole thing. The reason she's bringing it up is because Zach wants her to stop saying it.
Yes, he says that in the show.
Yeah.
He says...
I didn't know if you had seen that yet.
Yeah, he says, I wish she would stop saying that because I don't think it's true. He said he said it's been a joke for years in the family.
So, yeah. I mean, I get it because she comes back and is like, that's, but like, it wasn't a joke when your family members were telling me that.
Yes.
And like, I don't know if she's obsessed. Like, I would see how she'd be obsessed with being related to Ben Affleck, but I think it also comes from a place of, again, like, insecurity and embarrassment where she's like, I said this for so long and so loud that, like, please don't out me now, you know.
But, like, if you just stop saying it, it stops being a thing.
Right. If
like,
you just, like, never say Ben Affleck again, it'll never come up again.
But also... no one cares.
No, I don't think anyone has ever cared. I just found out the other day that one of Kenny's friends is related to CeeLo Green, who I love.
Right.
It does not change the way I see Kenny's friend in the slightest.
Not at all. So they all show up to Jesse's house for the Halloween party. So Jordan's going to be Ben Affleck. Jesse looks incredible as J-Lo. Can I just say...
stunning.
God damn.
And they, unfortunately, ate Jen and Zach up.
Well, I have that later in my notes that they objectively look better.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think Jen tried to be this whole Jenny from the block situation.
Is that what she was being?
I think so.
Christ. Okay.
I didn't like it.
It didn't play out well. Taylor shows up as Gretchen Wieners as a cat. Macy and Jacob show up as Regina and... Aaron Samuels. Michaela and Jace show up as Karen and the Burn Book. Demi is Fruity Pebbles and Brett is Milk.
Yeah, that was a weird costume.
Brett is so hot though.
Yeah, Brett is really hot.
If I look like him at 47, that's all I want. Then Jen and Zach also show up as J-Lo and Ben Affleck, and that was hard. That was really, really hard. Dakota shows up as the bus that hits Regina George, which I thought was actually really
I thought that was really funny. Yeah.
Then Miranda's ex-husband Chase shows up without a costume, and he's
supposed to be Justin Bieber.
Did he say that?
They say it like in the show at some point, but he doesn't look like Justin Bieber.
Oh, I just thought he was being a douchebag, and I was so into it. I was into it.
Really?
Oh,
I think he's cute.
I think he is so hot.
I think he's cute, and if anything, that makes sense because Miranda is stunning. I think she's so beautiful, and so Chase is kind of a match for that. I am glad that they're broken up, though.
Yes.
Anyway, yeah.
We get to Chase and Dakota start. They're talking, and they're like, I don't see why we hate each other. And then Taylor confronts them. And apparently the lowest point in Chase's life was when Taylor outed everyone for being swingers. And I'm like, then why'd you do it? Why'd you do it?
Right. How is that the lowest point in your life? This kind of comes back later in the season with someone else, where it's like, you've really never gone through anything before in your life, ever.
No, they haven't.
Like, what? And I do understand Taylor's problem with the whole thing. You didn't get to the second half of the episode, so I won't but you saw most of the confrontation already. It does get worse.
Good.
Taylor has a problem with the fact that Dakota didn't stand up for her.
that started to come out at the end of this episode, and I fully agree with her.
I do too, and I totally see where she's coming from. I do see like she could have just been chill at a Halloween party thing, but also Dakota's supposed to be trying to win her back. He's supposedly so in love with her, but the second he gets a chance to not be on her side, he's not on her side.
I agree. We close out the episode with the guys upstairs practicing their Chippendale dance. We find out Jordan does not have an ounce of
sex appeal.
Or like maybe it's a confidence thing. I don't know. Or maybe he's just uncomfortable. I don't know. But like he is so awkward about it. And like standing next to
Brett, who's like so in his sexual bag.
Yes, and a literal Chippendale dancer.
Right.
Like what is one to do with that?
It was funny to watch. I kind of see, like, I think he and Jesse are actually really cute together.
I think they're adorable together.
That, like, behind closed doors, they are, like, a perfect lovey-dovey match. You 100%. Know what I mean?
I think he just doesn't know what to do with that in real life, though, because the church.
Right, yeah, 100%. And he, like, doesn't know what's appropriate and what's not, especially when you're dealing with Jen.
Yes. And then the cops show up, and that's where we leave the episode.
Yeah. So you get more tea the next episode about exactly what's happening, obviously. But I think I want you to notice Miranda and how she deals with Chase in the next episode, because that's like where I actually grew an opinion about Miranda and was like, oh, I like you.
Interesting. Okay.
And also Taylor does go off the rails, but has a point. And the cops showing up, neither here nor there.
So that brings us to the end of another episode of Bestie Approved. This was the longest one so far. I feel like this is a good episode, though.
Yeah. We had so much reality TV to catch up on.
We did, and I think this is going to be... I like this. I think this is fun.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We love you. Tell your messiest friend about us. But before we go, I want to give a shout out to my friend Jack, who, as you all know, is Emma's pride and joy of a son. And he sat with us for probably 75% of this episode. And he was so incredible, and he was so supportive, and he was such a good listener. And I appreciate him being here. So thank you so much, Jack.
We love you, Jack.
Do you have anything to say to the listeners?
You want to say something on the podcast?
You want to say something to the besties?
Hello, Bestie Approved. It's me, Jack.
That's perfect.
And my mom is the best, and I love her the best day.
I love you so much.
And I don't know a better way to close the episode. Tell your messiest friends about us. Follow us everywhere. Listen to us wherever you get podcasts. We love you, and thank you.
Mwah. See you next week.